Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Asphalt and Aprons. Slightly different, our first ever video, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So, Ryan's Strokes here. Hello, Ian's here, and Jim's here. And today we're going to talk about their adventure on their bike abroad. So, James, tell us where you went to recently.
Don't rush. You're a natural leader, Ian. I'll let you do it.
I'm a natural leader. Yes, we went to Spain, the Pico Mountains in northern Spain, which I'd done about 30 years ago as a coach driver. I'd done part of it, but I couldn't really remember it. So just getting there again and seeing it properly, it was just one of the most stunning places I think I've seen.
I was going to say,
Really
scenery is outstanding.
Aye.
You have to go to experience it. It's beautiful, doesn't it? Basically, that's the words don't describe it.
So something like this doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't just, you don't just wake up and say, right, let's go to the Pico Mountains. Give us a bit of background about how this sort of originated. And yeah, because I believe there was more than the two of you, so there's obviously a bit of organisation there.
There's a group, there's another biking group that Ian and I are part of. It's a very much biking group as a social group. And last year, there was, I think, 10, 12 of them. They had arranged a trip over to ultimately Switzerland. And on the back of that, as much as we were invited last year, being the first one, there was some of the things, there was more so the distance that concerned me. And had such a great time, they then arranged another trip for this year. And it was obviously down through France, into Spain, to the Picos. And basically, we obviously went on board, but there was 2 or 3 guys who basically take the lead for organising it. And that was it. Basically put our names forward, we're part of the team. And then everybody's got a contribution to make that.
We are recording this at the Glen Cafe at St Mary's Lock, and there will be traffic passing, but hopefully we can wipe that sound out. So yeah, with this.
So ultimately there's 12 people from the UK, and then there's a couple of people, our friends that we know who stay in France. We actually met up with them, so they actually took the wife, or his wife I should say, took the camper van down, and he took his motorbike down from who stays in France, but anyway, they met us at coast somewhere. They met us down in Portuguese, so that been very good actually.
Yeah. So we were chatting briefly earlier about most European runs or long runs start off by just get there as quick as you can at the start point. You were saying that you guys took a bit of a different approach rather than just banging down the motorway. And
what appealed to me about the trip was the previous year, I think it was like 1 night, 2 night stops. And for me, it was more about mileage. So the mileage was maybe between 300 and 500 miles, if I'm correct, especially the first day. That didn't appeal to me the previous year. So what appealed to me about this trip was the fact that you would be based in the one place for 5, 6 nights, just giving you the chance to branch out and see a large area of it. So that's what appealed to me about the trip, was the fact that we
had a base.
We had a base.
We had a base
and people came from different areas. People were doing their own thing. Some people, as Jim mentioned, there's a couple that came down from northern France. And with us, there was a group of us left Edinburgh, made our way down to Chester. A couple of other guys, they left at a different time and joined us the same night. And then there was a couple of guys that met us at the docks the following day. So everybody had their own agenda. And everybody met up at the docks. And then even after that, when we got over to France, Jim and I wanted to see the beaches from World War II. So we took off and done that, and the rest of the group, they went over somewhere else. And then we met up at the hotel in La Rochelle.
Was it the D-Day beaches you actually went to?
Yes. Yes. Okay. We came off and stopped at Sword Beach. And then from there we made our way along to Omaha Beach. Quick visit of the museum, lots of photographs. And then from there we came down, stayed off the motorways and just came down the sort of A roads, made our way down to Saint-Nazaire. Saint-Nazaire, there's a huge submarine base there from World War II, and it's where the greatest raid of all took place. It was when British commandos attacked the submarine base, and there was 5 Victoria Crosses awarded that night, and a famous charge across Pegasus Bridge. It's been documented in movies and documentaries, so that was one of the interests. Better to go and see that.
It's actually very interesting, because basically, we could talk about, obviously, even to get down to the ferry, it wasn't, to go back a wee bit, we came down to Kilda Forest, rather than restricting the motorway, we're down through Kilda Forest, and they went over by Tan Hill.
Yeah.
Tan Hill's
The highest pub in England.
the highest pub in England, yeah. So, it's things like that you get all these things that appeal to you. It's not just a matter of sitting on the motorway for like 4 hours.
Yeah,
Down there, we broke it down. And likewise, as Ian says, once we got over on the ferry, again, it's all, we've all been on ferries over to Ireland or wherever, but, the fact you're going across the channel, again, it's something different, But for me, it's one of these first new experiences. And then obviously, when we came off, visited Sword Beach. That was is it Bill Millen?
Millen.
Yeah, Bill Millen, the piper.
He was Lord Lubbock's personal piper, and if you ever watched the movie The Longest Day, he actually played the part of the piper in the movie as well.
All right.
So he was famous for that.
So your journey and adventure sort of started from day one, isn't it? Rather than we had the day to get there, and that's when everything started.
So,
Which is great. And I like the fact that although you went as a group, you could splinter off, do your own thing, as long as you rendezvoused at the main point that was there.
And we had our hotels booked. So basically, like, let's say day one over in Europe and France, basically we had a great hotel actually in La Rochelle, and well, obviously a bit preparation and planning goes into all these events, but they had things like underground car parking. So when we actually turned up, we knew the code to the car park to get down underneath, and the hotel had actually allocated us spaces.
Well, that's great.
It wasn't just a matter of turning up, let's hope we can get in.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. And again, great hotels, great bunch of guys we were with.
So is that the first time you've been abroad on a bike?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Well, on the continent.
On the continent. Well, yeah. Ireland, yeah. But we will class Ireland as technically abroad, so I can qualify that.
But over the English Channel,
yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Just tell the viewers as well as the listeners, what you were riding. What's your bike?
I ride a BMW, a 1250 GS Adventure.
So basically a belly button. As I say, that's my common name for everything. Everybody's got everybody's got it. But no, I've got BMW also. I've got the K1600, which is a sports tourer. And I think there was none of the two bikes. They're both built for cruising. Absolute great bikes. Because the roads, we've done a couple of toll roads. If we want to get someplace sharpish to enjoy the area, we've done a couple of toll roads. So basically, you're sitting at the speed limits. We get there. Likewise, if you're off onto they're not B roads. Is it N roads? I think they're called. They're N roads. They're like our B roads.
Yeah.
And basically, both bikes absorbed it. What I will say is the road surfaces, both in France and in Spain, superb, absolutely excellent. I mean, compared to what we've got, across the excellent. But when we're over in, obviously, you come off our ferry. What I enjoyed was, obviously, he's actually a very good leader on the bike. He's a good road captain, you might say. And
the whole experience done the past.
Yeah, I'll take my heart. Yeah, looks after the group. And once we'd been to Sword Beach, then up to Omaha, obviously down, we stopped at, again, as he says, we stayed off the main roads.
Yeah.
And I think one of our first experiences was a place called St. James, nice and easy. Beautiful wee cafe in there. We had stopped in for a cafe, very relaxed, and it was very. France is actually cleaner than what I expected. Once you get into the countryside, it's absolutely beautiful. Clean, flat, which was surprising to me, and the people are actually pleasant. Very, very pleasant.
I saw I think it was a TikTok clip recently. John Bishop, the comedian, who was very much on his adventures and things like that. And he was saying that, he said, it's not until you go off the beaten track that you start to find these hidden gems.
That's it. Aye.
You know, you'll stop in a town somewhere and suddenly decide find this great cafe, and rather than going down the same route everybody else goes to, the same cafe
that's
and
right.
things like that.
That's right.
And I think that is the adventure, is you don't know what really lies ahead, but go and try and find it.
I think that's what appealed to me for this trip, because I like to stop and see things. You know, and some people like to get from A to B as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
For me, I just like to stop and take photographs and to experience things and culture and everything else. And that's what appealed to me about the trip this year.
Yeah, and I think that is probably what is good about where you've got a group to say, right, as long as we're all here by 5 o'clock,
Yep.
go do your own thing. Because some people are there, it's the ride, and other people is like, I want to soak up the experience as I go.
Yeah,
You know, the different roads, the scenery, things like that.
I mean, even when we were staying in Ports, guys were doing their own things. A couple of guys went away, done some off-roading for the day.
That's right. They done
Yeah.
is it a pet? The Trans-European trip.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
Done that, yeah.
When there's a couple of guys went to Portugal for the day.
All right.
A lot of mileage. You know, they never get back to about, I think it was late at night.
About 550, 600 miles on a day.
But I suppose if you're that far south, going that bit further south,
Yeah.
that's Portugal. And that's one of the biggest motorcycle rallies of the whole calendar year is in Fara. So they do that Portugal every year, which is a huge bike rally.
So everybody had their own agenda.
There was no,
that's
usually
the
there was no fixed itinerary. Well, we had basically trips or routes we could go. I mean, what I'd like to say is just to go back again. You know, when we're travelling from like La Rochelle down to Jakarta, you know, went through the Somport Tunnel, which is, you know, I thought it was amazing. You know, it's something like 5.5 miles long.
This is an engineering perspective.
Oh yeah,
This is, you know, but
these are electrical gears.
when you see the big number, you know, like big numbers, you know, it's like 8 kilometres or something. Like, can it be? You know, but sure enough, it's, you know, you're in this tunnel for a long time, and it drops something like 2,000 feet, you know, from start to finish.
TMS.
So it's things like that, you know, again, it's just it's experience, you know, and you're taking in the scenery, taking in the roads, the whole lot. You know, that's what I like about it.
So what did you individually get out of it? Because I know you kind of have the same experience to a point, but what did you get out of it, Ian, as the whole journey? What was the bit for you that think I really like that, and what sort of got your juices flowing?
For me, it was the World War II sites.
Right.
Because one of my interests is World War II history, World War I history. That was really the sort of highlight for me, was to get to Saint Nazaire, and, you know, because I've studied the what's called the greatest raid of all. I've studied that, and just to go and see where it happens, that was a big thing for me. It was sort of the bucket list.
Bucket list.
But I mean, generally, just the scenery. It just blew me away. The scenery that was there. I was expecting mountains and mountain roads, but the actual scenery was just out.
Was that because you actually took more notice of it this time because you were on the bike rather than driving the coaches?
Yeah.
Because you say you've done the similar parts before.
Yeah.
Like seeing it from the back of a bike rather than from the front of a coach.
Absolutely. Yeah, it made a huge difference, and just being able to stop, you know, anywhere you want, more or less, was safe, and get good photographs. Just,
You know, the
absorb the
certain viewpoints as well.
Yeah.
You know, just outside Picos, they've got this. It's a well-known, you know, it's well photographed. There's a deer and there's a bear. You know, spectacular viewpoints down over valleys, gorges. You know, what you draw them. So I know there was.
we came across one as well by accident. Remember, the group split into two one day. We went up to check out the cable car, which we visited the following day, and there was 5 of us, and we ended up. Where was it? We ended up looking over the whole valley, 14,000 feet. You could see all the road below and through the valley, and we came across it by accident, really. And I think the rest of the group headed up the next day.
They went up the next day.
Well.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just one of the most stunning photographs ever taken.
And what about yourself, Jim? What was your take?
I wouldn't say there's a best part. You know, I just enjoyed the whole experience.
Right.
Again, you know, as you know, we have always been to Ireland before, but the fact you're going to Europe, you know, and you heard all these things. Everybody goes on your your TikTok, your YouTube, you've looked at all before, but to actually see it in person,
Yeah.
and it's just whether it's taking in, the culture, the roads, the experience dealing with the locals, so it's basically everything. I wouldn't say there was one thing that basically blew me away. It was just, I like the whole package.
The whole experience.
The whole experience, as simple as that.
Yeah.
The whole package,
I think that's the thing is whether you ride solo or whether you're riding as a group and things like that, you have that individual experience. Everybody gets something out of it that's different. And for me, I like the freedom on a bike, as you were saying, just be able to stop and go, wait a minute, this is a picture of what we're doing. Let's just take in the view and our bikes. Let's take in the view. Like things like that. And I think in the noise. I mean, my goal would be, again, we'd love to do something like that because I originally sort of thought before we did Ireland was cross to Holland and then down the coast to France, to the beaches, things like that. And I think, as you say, you see everybody doing it on TikTok or social media, but there's nothing stopping you from doing it, as long as it's planned properly.
We've all done the trips. We've done trips this year. Jen's looking to do another one in September, which we're going to be part of, and that's going to be another experience. It's early planning with that at the moment, and I suppose that's the key element for everything, isn't it? Really, it's planning. Preparation and planning, and then that way you'll all enjoy the experience.
Yeah. One thing about the hotel in Ports, I just thought the hotel. I've stayed in a lot of hotels in my career, but I thought the hotel was outstanding. And just the service, just the feel of the place, everybody, the people it was a family-run hotel, and they were very proud of what they've achieved, and they were just lovely, lovely people. They could not do enough for us.
It's interesting, an interesting concept there about you saying when you go across to Europe, the roads are immaculate, the service, etc. I wonder what European riders find when they come across here, whether they think, there's a drop in standard of the roads, or there's a drop in standard of the hospitality. We must have something. We've got great scenery and we have got some great roads in the UK, because people keep coming back. So I think there's a lot to explore on your own home turf.
I suppose it's their experience, isn't it? Really? So,
I think history as well, obviously. Scotland, the UK is steeped in history. I think a lot of people come across for that, as well as the scenery. That's my view.
That was your ferry trip. How did you enjoy that?
First one was very quick, actually. It was an overnight ferry which lasted 4 or 5 hours.
I felt that way.
But the coming back was fine. We picked up the ferry at Santander back into Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And it's about 30 hours. It's 27. Is it? 30 hours. And to be honest, it's fine. Again, organisation from the ferry side, basically everything's organised. You're funneled in, basically onto the ferry. We had obviously our cabin, and excellent.
We've all been on holidays and things like that where you're like, gets near to the end of the holiday and you're thinking, yeah, I'm ready to go home now. Did you get that experience when you were coming back, or were you like, oh my God, it's ending, I wish we could carry on?
Sorry,
You'll cut that back. It's okay. Nice. That's not the first time I've heard that. But where's the point you thought? I'm glad I'm heading home. I've had enough, or look, I can carry on.
Yes and no. The one bit that got me is obviously everybody refers to it as the twisties. It's like, I was like, because having a big bike, it's I wouldn't say it's not designed for it, but you got to work at it. And it's just like, when you're getting to that, we've got a day left. I kind of thought, I'm kind of glad we've got, we're getting near to it. It was, my choice. You didn't have to do the routes, but it was like that was the only thing. Twisties scenery was excellent. There was just that twisties, but no, I would have quite happily stayed. So much so, basically I'll be going back with my good lady. I plan to go back to France to experience that, and then also we'll go back to Poitiers as well to experience. Take my wife to that. It's such a good experience for myself. I want my wife.
You want to share it with them?
I want to share it. I wanted to see what it's like.
Obviously not on the bike though.
Unfortunately, no.
I think that's the good thing about it. You find these experiences in these places when you're on the bike that you can then go, we can go, I found a great place to go for a holiday or a trip and things like that.
Well,
And as you say, not necessarily on the bike. You can go by car or whatever, dreaded camper van if it's that big.
That one.
that one that if somebody's sitting out there watching this thinking, I want to do this, what's the one bit of advice you would give to them before thinking about setting up?
Preparation is the key.
See, that keeps coming back. Oh,
That's preparation, yeah.
Fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
No, that's it.
So, gents,
I was going to say, we set out on an adventure. Ultimately, it was an adventure for myself.
Uh-huh.
And certainly, having been there, come back, when I say there was no issues, no accidents, near misses, no mechanical breakdowns, no punctures, nothing like that. So on the whole, when you've got something like that puts it down to the group of guys. They're all sensible riders.
Yeah.
Sensible. Unfortunately, as I say, there was no issues, no punctures, mechanical failures. So it's all these, isn't it? Somebody gets a puncture, it can be a hassle.
Yeah.
But absolutely no issues at all. Great bunch of guys. As I say, there was 12 of us and 14 once we met a French friend. So I know it was all good.
One thing I would say is regarding preparation is the key. Paperwork. Make sure your paperwork's in order. There was things like having a UK sticker on your bike, and then obviously France as well. You've got to have the emissions badge on your bike.
Gear or something.
All right.
There's also a new legislation passed in France as well recently that you've got to make sure you've got high vis. Not necessarily wear it, but I've got to have it. And that's just come into force.
So it's familiarising yourself with it.
It's a spray you the first aid kit.
Well, if you go into the UK, government website, that will give you all that information for any country that you're planning to visit.
Cool. Gents, thank you very much for this first and hopefully successful video recording, which might have a lot of editing or very little editing, depending on how easy that is. We are sitting at the Glen Cafe down at St Mary's Lock. If you're a biker, you've probably been here. If you've not, come down and see it. You don't have to be a biker. Look at the scenery in the back. We'll get some shots of the place, let you see it. But it's a great venue. We are trying this for the first time. So if you're listening to this podcast and there's no video, it's because the video didn't work and we got the audio. If you're watching this podcast without any sound, then we have to cut out as much sound as we can there. But gents, thank you very much again.
Oh, just like thank you. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Stuart, for inviting us. No, appreciate it.
No problem.
No, glad to see you. Good to see you.
And keep listening, folks. Keep liking and sharing. And our next podcast is going to be, we're going to be talking about Andy Man's Club as well. Again, if there's anybody out there that wants anything promoted, give us plenty of time so we can fit it in, whether it's a biking event, a Masonic event, whatever. Just let us know. And right, safe, folks.
Because believe it or not, the podcast is getting quite popular.
We're
getting a few guests. We're getting there. Guest suggestions coming in. So yeah, it's growing.
A camper van for sale as well.
A camper van for sale as well. Glen Cashie's got a full itinerary of events they're doing. 5th of August is a Bikers Curry Night. It's our second one. The last one was a massive success. So if you can make it down for that, please come down and see them. But come down and visit them anyway. 6 o'clock is start.
6 o'clock. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Catch you later. Thank you very much, folks.
See you later.